I wonder if Tally will talk to us. Yep, we can. Oh. Oh, can I talk to him?
Hey,
Aha!
you know that Quarian Tally? She's been spending all her time down here asking me about our engines.
I'll tell her to leave you alone.
What? No, she's amazing. I wish my guys were half as smart as she is. Give her a month on board and she'll know more about our engines than I do. She's got a real knack for technology, that one. I can see why you wanted her to come.
She's useful, yes.
I figured she'd be a real asset to the team.
You got an eye for Tally, Commander, but I'm guessing that's not why you came down here.
Fill me in on the IES stealth systems. How does it work exactly?
You can't hide a ship out in space. They emit too much heat and radiation. Too easy for sensors to pick them up, unless you find a way to capture those emissions. So our stealth systems trap the energy we give off in storage sinks built into the ship itself. No emissions to give away our location. Eventually the sinks have to be vented. More than a few hours silent running and they overheat. Cook us inside our own hull.
There's no way for anyone to detect us?
A visual scan can still pick us up. Anyone looking out a window can see us plain as day. But you have to be pretty close to get an actual visual out in space. Most vessels rely on scanners. As long as the stealth systems are engaged, they can't see us. Not unless we accelerate to FTL speeds.
Geth do not use windows, so therefore we're fine.
Why doesn't it work with faster than light travel?
Cranking up to FTL blue shifts our emissions, pushes them into frequencies too high to capture in the sinks. As soon as we make the jump, it's like setting off a flare. Sensors can pick up our location whenever we enter or exit FTL flight, but for short-range missions, our stealth systems are amazing, and we've got the only one.
Ah, yes.
Where else have you served, Adams?
If you name a class of Alliance ship, I've probably served on it. Everything from dreadnoughts and carriers right down to frigates like the Normandy. My last assignment was on the Tokyo, only a cruiser, but she was a good ship. Couldn't hold a candle to the Normandy, though.
I want to know more about the Normandy.
She's the best ship I've ever served on. Probably the fastest vessel ever designed. She's the only one using the new Tantalus drive core.
What's so special about the Tantalus drive core?
Proportionally, it's about twice the size of any other vessel. Not only are we faster, we can run at FTL speeds longer before we have to discharge the core.
That sounds interesting.
Carry on, Adams.
Got no idea
Aye,
how though. Anything else we can take? Nope. I guess we'll talk to Tally then.
Your ship's amazing, Shepard. I've never seen a drive core like this before. I can't believe you were able to fit it into a ship this small. I'm starting to understand why you humans have been so successful. I had no idea Alliance vessels were so advanced.
The Normandy's a prototype. Cutting-edge technology.
A month ago, I was patching a makeshift fuel line into a converted tug ship in the flotilla. Now, I'm sitting on board one of the most advanced vessels in Citadel space. I have to thank you again for bringing me along. Traveling on a vessel like this is a dream come true for me.
It is pretty sweet ship, gotta
I
say.
had no idea you found ship technology so interesting.
It comes with being a Quarian. The migrant fleet is the key to the survival of my people. Ships are our most valuable resource. But we don't have anything like this. We make do with cast-offs and second-hand equipment. We just try to keep them running for as long as we can. Some of the fleet's larger vessels date all the way back to our original flight from the Geth.
Wow.
I can't believe your fleet's still using ships that are 3 centuries old.
They're constantly being repaired, modified, and refitted. They aren't pretty, but they work. Mostly. We've tried to make ourselves as independent as possible on the flotilla. Grow our own food, mine, and process our own fuel. But some things we just can't make on our own. A patch to maintain the hull integrity requires raw materials we just don't have. That's why our pilgrimages are so important.
Interesting.
I want to know more about the Geth.
I doubt I can tell you anything you don't already know. It's been almost 3 centuries since they drove my people into exile. All I know is the story of their origins. What they were when we created them, and how they turned on us.
What happened, boys?
Interesting.
The Geth were originally created to serve as an automated manual labor force. Initially, their intelligence was as limited as any VI. Over time, we made small modifications to their programming to allow them to perform more varied and complex tasks, bringing them closer and closer to true AI status.
That's illegal.
How come the council didn't step in and stop you?
This wasn't true AI research. We may have been skirting the bounds of the law, but we never did anything that was actually illegal. The changes were so insignificant, so gradual, that we were able to control them. Or so we thought. But one thing we underestimated was the power of the neural network. A million Geth thinking simultaneously created an inherently unstable matrix.
So, the Geth share brain power?
Many of the Geth's logic systems were designed to work in concert with other nearby Geth. Basically, the more of them you have in a group, the smarter they are.
So there's some sort of group consciousness?
No, nothing like that. They cannot share sensory data or information. Their programming cannot handle that much simultaneous input. Each Geth maintains an individual awareness and identity. The neural network only operates on a process-based level. It's basically the synthetic equivalent of a subconscious. But when they're in close proximity, they can coordinate low-level functional processes, freeing up more capacity for original or independent thought.
I don't get it.
That doesn't make any sense.
I'm probably oversimplifying. The Geth are incredibly advanced and complex creations. All you need to know is that they get smarter when they gather in large numbers. As we built more and more Geth, their effective intelligence became more sophisticated, more abstract. One day, a Geth began to ask its Quarian overseer questions about the nature of its existence. Am I alive? Why am I here? What is my purpose? As you can imagine, this caused a near panic among my people.
I don't see what's so bad about those questions.
The Geth were created to engage in mundane, repetitive, or dangerous manual labor. That's fine for machines, but it won't satisfy a sentient being for long. The Geth were showing signs of rudimentary self-awareness and independent thought. If the Geth were intelligent, then we were essentially using them as slaves. It was inevitable the newly sentient Geth would rebel against their situation. We knew they would rise up against us, so we acted first. A general order went out across all Quarian-controlled systems to permanently deactivate all Geth. The Geth responded to this order violently.
You can't blame them for fighting for their survival.
We had no other choice. The Geth were already on the verge of revolution. By acting quickly, we had a chance to end the war before it began.
Well, it didn't.
The hope was that most of the Geth would still be little more than machines, incapable of organized resistance. But they had progressed much further than anyone anticipated. The war was long and bloody. Millions upon millions of Quarians died at their hands. In the end, we were forced to flee our own homeworld. We feared the Geth would pursue us, but they never came beyond the Veil. Now we drift through space, exile searching for a way to reclaim what was once ours.
So if you're right.
I want to know more about the pilgrimage.
When my people reach maturity, we leave our birth ships and seek acceptance with a new crew. It's necessary to maintain genetic diversity among the fleet. But no ship wants to accept someone who will be a burden on them. So, to prove our worth, we embark on a pilgrimage. We set out alone, leaving the flotilla and our families behind us. We only return once we have found something of value we can bring back to the fleet. This is presented as a gift to the captain of the respective ship we wish to join. If the gift is accepted, we are welcomed into the crew.
Do they always accept?
Can a captain choose to reject the gift?
That doesn't happen often. Most captains are eager to increase the size of their crew. It increases their own standing in our society. Even when a gift is not particularly valuable, the captain usually accepts it out of a sense of tradition. However, there is a stigma to presenting a substandard gift. It's not the best way to make a good impression on a new community. Most pilgrims don't return until they find something worthwhile.
Fair enough.
I can't believe they just send you off alone.
It's not like they just cast us out. Before we leave, we are given lessons in how to survive outside the flotilla. and given gifts to help us on our journey. We also receive implants to fight off sickness and disease. Generations of living in an isolated and highly controlled environment have left our immune systems weaker than most. By the time we leave the fleet, we are well equipped for the pilgrimage. This is a rite of passage for all Quarians. If it were dangerous, our numbers would suffer. Virtually every pilgrimage ends with a triumphant return and the ritual presentation of the gift to one of the fleet's captains.
Okay, fair enough.
I want to talk about something else.
Like what?
Have we already talked about this one?
Tell me about your people.
Our lives aren't easy. Resources
Don't think
are
we have.
scarce, and we are constantly on the move. Everything we do must in some way contribute to the continuation of the migrant fleet. There are 17 million Quarians in the flotilla, and each of us relies on the others for survival. The bonds among my people are strong. Unfortunately, we have had to surrender many of the freedoms and civil liberties other species take for granted.
What kind of freedoms?
Well, it's illegal for parents to have more than one child. If our population grows too much, it would strain our resources to their breaking point. Of course, we also can't allow our numbers to become too few. If our population is in decline, the rule against single births is temporarily repealed. In extreme cases of population decline, incentives are even offered to encourage multiple births. Though the Conclave hasn't had to take such measures in nearly a century.
What the hell's that?
That's your government.
The Conclave is our civilian branch of government. Each ship can elect a representative to serve on the Conclave and make decisions that affect the fleet as a whole. On matters that affect an individual ship, however, the captain has the final say. It's a tradition that dates back to the early days, when the fleet was governed by martial law. Fortunately, most captains nowadays are smart enough to have an elected council from their crew to give them advice and guidance.
So the ultimate power rests with elected officials.
In practice, the Conclave and the respective council for each ship tend to set the rules that govern our daily lives. But in theory, we are still under military jurisdiction. The 5 top-ranking military officials in the fleet serve on the Admiralty Board. These 5 have the power to overrule any decision by the Conclave in case of emergency. To do so requires unanimous agreement among the Admiralty, and they can only do this once. After that, the entire board must resign their posts. It's a safeguard that served us well. In nearly 3 centuries, the Admiralty Board has only overruled the Conclave 4 times.
Well then, I think that's all.
I should go.
That was a long chat. We got a lot of XP for it as well. Plus 80. How much XP are we off from a level up? About 300. Not too much then. So I guess we should actually go and do a proper mission now, huh? I think what I usually do is go and get go to Artemis Tower, whatever it is, to pick up our last member, Liara. Just so we got a complete crew. Because she's generally how I use for the second person in our crew. We need to go up. Forgetting where I am on the ship. It's different to the Normandy on Mass Effect 2 and 3. Obviously. Oh, we got some more XP. Okay, so it was Artemis Tau, and I'll probably remember the area when I search through it. Liara's dig site. I think it's Konos. I'm not sure if that's how you say it or not. But we'll get to see a nice cutscene animation thing as we leave the Citadel. Normandy does look badass, gotta say. It's probably one of the best looking ships in this game, if not the best. Okay. It's like a volcanic world, I think. But we'll just go ahead and search all the random worlds anyway, because sometimes you can get like resources from them. start a mission off. But obviously these don't want to give me anything. You can like survey them for minerals like this. You survey it and we've got a large concentration of nitrogen, and that's one gas ticked off, I guess. Right, so we could only survey one of the worlds, and this is the world that we're landing on to go and rescue Liara. So for now we'll go with Garrus and Rex, because they're the most badass ones we've got at the moment. Yep. And here comes the Mako. Now this thing is pretty cool, but it handles like, oh man, this thing is not easy to control at all. Its steering is really weird.
Really strange, like off the damn charts. It looks like it's coming from an underground complex a few clicks away from the drop zone.
Well, we'll go and investigate that then. As I was saying, this thing's pretty cool. It's like a proper tank. It's got a big main gun, and it's got some shooty things here, like machine gun, Gatling gun kind of thing. But the control of it is just terrible. So sometimes you just go veering off in the completely wrong direction and you can't steer the other way to correct it. And it does get frustrating. Also, I'm probably going to start manually saving from here as well, because if you die or you fail the mission in whatever way, then you start all the way at the start of this like little track here, whatever it's called, and the Geth are coming in here. So like if you get killed or the tank blows up or whatever, you have to do all of this again, and it's really frustrating. I don't tend to die that much, or at least I didn't when I was testing, but if you do, then you kind of get screwed over a bit, and I'd rather not have to do all this again. But I'm mainly only paranoid because I remember in the first time I played this, I died on this level a couple of times, and I had to start over again. In fact, I think in the first like series that I did of this, I actually got this tank into the last bit, which is kind of weird. It glitched the game a bit, but it let me do it, so it helped me with the level. Because I was having trouble with the last bit before you go underground, because it is a bit of a pain in the arse. Is there any more turrets? I think there might be one more turret. Yeah, there is. Can do some proper tank tactics here, boys. Wow, that clipping though. That rocket just went through the rock face there. A bit BS. I think we should probably invest in something else for now. Get some. Why do we have one in Intimidate? Did I put that there or what? In fact, I think I should put them in Spectre Training, because that would be a good thing to put it in. Oh, right. It mustn't have saved it when I put in the points last time then, because I got 4 points for these two now. I'm not sure what I put it in last time. I think I put it in Barrier, did I? No. No. Maybe not. I'm just going to put it in armor for this guy, because that seems good. Yeah, I'll open up fitness for him as well. So I'm not going to be using Rex for much longer anyway. Once I get Liara, the standard setup is Garrus and Liara, and I just give them all their good weapons. It saves me having to get good weapons for the entire crew.
We should sneak around and pull its tail.
No kidding. Oh, he didn't even fire at me. That was weird. Usually the turrets fire at you as soon as they see you, but that one really didn't want to waste its rocket on me, I guess. So we've got a ton of Geth in this area. That guy fired rockets. That guy died because I blew up a tank next to him, by the looks of it. Should be... The aiming on this thing's a bit weird as well. Like, if you're not zoomed in and you just fire like that, it tends to fire above where you go. Like if you're aiming down, it'll fire just straight. Like it won't aim down at all. The gun depression is a bit weird, I guess. See you later. There ain't much left. I'd probably be able to bombard my way in. So like, oh, it did work. Wow.